Okay, hello. Thank you for joining us. We are Evi and Liza, and for the past 10 weeks we've been studying greenhouses.
Right now we're at the greenhouse village on the campus of the University of Cape Coast.
Before we came to Ghana, we decided to focus our research on the disposal of these plastics. Ghana has a big problem with plastics and general waste disposal. However, in the first week of our research, we found that greenhouses in Ghana are few and far apart, so focusing solely on plastic would be too niche. Let's step into our office.
Like most African countries, Ghana struggles with food insecurity. Most of its vegetables are imported, which means they are quite expensive. Greenhouses produce higher quality products and higher yields per square meter compared to open field farming. It seems like greenhouses are a good solution for some of Ghana's problems. But this brought us to the question, why are there not more greenhouses here?
This is why we decided to expand our research and look at the challenges greenhouse farmers face. Because we did not want to ignore the importance of sustainable farming and the obvious waste problem, we decided to make plastic still an aspect of our research. Our provider for our research was Seed2Feed, which is a Dutch-based NGO which is focused on providing food security in Africa.
Because our provider Seed2Feed is not based in Ghana, our local host is the University of Cape Coast, also known as UCC.
This is Dr. Salom Akaba, our local guide, supervisor and friend. He works for the Department of Agriculture and Economics at UCC. Besides driving us around to greenhouses and providing us with all the resources we needed, he also showed us his culture.
Now that you know the basics, let us show you our actual research. For collecting our data, we did interviews with different stakeholders within greenhouse farming. In the end, we interviewed 17 greenhouse farmers, 4 businesses related to greenhouses and 1 greenhouse association. To understand the social context better, we joined Farmers' Day celebrations, a home gardening initiative, and looked around several non-greenhouse farms. Of course, we also did a lot of literary research, even though Wi-Fi was sometimes harder to find than the scarce greenhouses. As said before, one of our assumptions was that Ghana has a lot of greenhouses and the plastic would be a big problem. However, we found that this was not the case. Also because a lot of farmers use plastic longer than the recommended 3 to 5 years. This caused us to revisit our initial field assignment plan.
Since most of our project came together a little bit late, we didn't have many assumptions. But one we did have was that Cape Coast would have a little bit more infrastructure. It has more inhabitants than Leiden, but most of those inhabitants are either students that live on a campus like this, or people that live in informal living spaces like this. So they didn't really even have a real supermarket, only open air markets or mini markets with mostly canned food. And also we are living in this student housing. So you can really say we indulged ourselves in a frugal lifestyle.
So, what did we find? You cannot feel it through the screen, but it's unbearably hot here. And it's even hotter inside these greenhouses. Ghana has a climate with steady high temperatures, and the greenhouses only amplify this heat. This heat does not only damage the plant, but also creates unsafe working conditions for the workers who work there in the middle of the day.
To counteract this heat, or to deal with it, we found that one company was piloting with painting the steel white, like this, to reflect more sunlight. Others used shade netting to keep out some of the sun during the hottest hours. Another option would be using more advanced technologies, like automated irrigation. However, this is not very frugal and too expensive for most farmers. These structures cost per greenhouse around $15,000 and maintaining a greenhouse is also not cheap. This can make greenhouse farming not profitable for a farmer. One of the reasons for these high costs is that nearly all products are imported. We need to look at local alternatives to make it affordable. making the structure of bamboo will dramatically decrease the price. Even though these materials do not last as long as steel, they would be a great starting point for small farmers.
Knowledge is a big factor. Greenhouse farming requires a lot of specific knowledge on the topic, and not all farmers have this. For example, some of the farmers we talked to did not know that the plastic needs to be cleaned when they are dirty for optimal use of the greenhouse. This lack of knowledge often leads to fewer yields, therefore making the greenhouse even less profitable. We think greenhouse associations may be a very good way to spread knowledge. By bringing farmers in contact with each other, they can help each other. This can be done in a very simple way, for example by making a WhatsApp group, which requires no additional resources.
During our research, we also found that the Ghanaian government in 2019 decided to invest in greenhouses. They invested in multiple greenhouse villages, like the one we just saw, and this one we visited in Damenya. Young people interested in farming could get one of these greenhouses and pay it back year by year until it was fully theirs. This sounds like a great way to create jobs and also to promote greenhouse farming. However, when we talked to these young people, they mentioned that the amount they had to pay back every year was too much, leaving them with little to no profits. It also didn't take into account how much yields they make, so even if their harvest failed, they still had to pay. We think a program like this can greatly benefit Ghana, however, there needs to be a flexible payment plan and not a fixed one.
Back on the subject of plastics, we found out that here in Ghana, most of the greenhouse farmers dispose of their waste plastics from the greenhouses by burning them. This is of course very harmful for the environment. Some of the farmers do not know how harmful it is, and others just don't have any alternative. Very few find creative, frugal solutions to give their plastic a second life. For example, using it to store their media. Holland's GreenTech in Senegal has found a creative solution to recycle these plastics. They buy the plastics from the farmers and create agricultural products from them, so they can sell them again to these farmers. This is a very innovative way to recycle these plastics, and this initiative could be very helpful for the environment here in Ghana.
Sadly, we didn't have the time nor researchers to experiment with our solutions ourselves, but we think a future student group might be able to design a greenhouse that's better equipped to the Ghanaian climate, which is also affordable.
They could also set up a community or work with a company to set up another payback program, this time with more flexible payments. On the plastic, a similar system as Holland GreenTech in Senegal could be set up.
Even though greenhouse farming faces a lot of challenges here in Ghana, we still believe it's a valuable part of the future, especially with climate change making open field farming harder and harder due to sun and weather changes. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
What does frugal innovation mean to me? Well, coming here to Ghana, it was a big change because I've never been to Africa before and people live here very differently. And the first thing I saw was that I found it very wonderful how people can be so resilient with so little resources. And during our research I saw the same thing, because greenhouses are very expensive and most of the people don't have the finance to maintenance it. And they find like little creative solutions to make the greenhouse work. And that's what I think frugality is, like finding creative and resilient solutions with the little resources you have.
So what does frugality mean to me? Well, I think after this field assignment I understand the importance of it even more, because in our greenhouses cost was always a big problem, so we need to find creative solutions to make it more affordable and do more with the resources we already have. Also, I think with the limited resources here in Ghana, frugality is something that's just in the mindset of people. They always try to get the most out of everything they use. For example, if they eat meat here, they also eat the skin and the bones because you don't want to throw it away. So I think I understood the importance of it even more.